After much acrimonious debate and upon the suggestion of Trinidad H. Pardo de Tavera, the body agreed on the creation of a new province independent of the province of Manila. The new province was aptly named after José Rizal, the country's national hero. On June 11, 1901, the province of Rizal was officially and legally created by virtue of an Act No. 137 by the First Philippine Commission, which during the time was acting as the unicameral legislative body in the island of Luzon. The new province was composed of 29 municipalities, 17 from the old province of Manila.
Magandang araw! Halina't gawin nating kasiyasiya ang pag-aaral ng kasaysayan at tuklasin natin ang mga nangyari kung paano naging malaya at matagumpay ang mga Pilipino sa ngayon. Tatalakayin natin ngayon ang unang bugso ng kaganapan sa panahon ng himagsikang Pilipino na nagpasimula sa pagpapalabas ng alab ng damdaming nasyonalismo sa pagkamit ng kasarinlan sa pamamagitan ng tahasang pakikipaglaban sa mga dayuhan. Ang unang sigaw ng Pugad Lawin. Ang unang sigaw ng Pugad Lawin ay isang natatanging pangyayari sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas na binubuo ng mahigit 500 katipunero na sabay-sabay na pinunit ang kani-kanilang sedula bilang pagpapatunay ng kanilang pagtiwalag sa pamumuno ng mga Espanyol sa Pilipinas. Ito ay maitutulad sa El Grito ng himagsikan sa Mexico. Isang kontrobersya hanggang ngayon kung kailan at kung saan naganap ang unang sigaw. May panahong ipinagdiriwang ang unang sigaw sa Balintawak tuwing Agosto 26, ngunit binago ito ng saliksik ni Teodoro A. Agoncillo noong 1956 na nagtakdang naganap ito sa Pugad Lawin noong Agosto 23, 1896. Ikalima ng Hulyo taong 1896 nang matuklasan ng pamahalaang Espanya ang Samahang Katipunan. Isang liham ang ipinadala ni Teniente Manuel Setiar, isang opisyal ng Pasig sa Gobernador Sibil ng Maynila, upang ipaabot ang kaniyang kaalaman sa samahang kubli na binubuo sa kabisera. Ayon sa kanyang balita, ang samahan ay buong tapang na nagsisiwalat ng mga kamalian ng pamahalaan at ang pwersa nito ay umaabot na maging sa kalapit na bayan gaya ng Mandaluyong at San Juan. Ayon pa kay Setiar, may nalikom na daang salapi ang samahan na sapat upang matustusan ang mga kasapi ng mga armas na kanilang gagamitin sa napipintong pag-aaklas. Nang malantad ang katipunan noong Agosto 11, 1896 ay tumakas patungong Caloocan sina Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Jacinto, Procopio Bonifacio at iba pang mga pinuno. Napag-alaman naman ni Bonifacio na marami sa kanilang kasamahan ang ipinaaresto. Kasabay nito, nagpatawag siya ng pangkahalatang pulong upang pag-usapan ang mga susunod na hakbang. Itinakda niya ang pulong sa Balintawak noong Agosto 24. Dumating naman kinabukasan, Agosto 20, si Pio Valenzuela. Noong hapon ng Agosto 21, umalis ang umaabot sa 500 katipunero kasama sina Bonifacio, patungong Kangkong at natulog sa bakuran ni Apolonia Samson. Umalis sila sa Kangkong noong hapon ng Agosto 22 at dumating kinagabihan sa Pugad Lawin sa bakuran ni Juan A. Ramos, anak ni Melchora Aquino. Dahil sa pagkakatuklas ng katipunan, pinasabihan ni Andres Bonifacio ang iba pang mga pinuno ng samahan para sa isang pagtitipon. Ang kanilang pasisinayan dito at pag-uusapan ay kung ano ang pinakamainam na hakbangin ng kanilang gagawin. Sa pagpupulong na ito, tumindig si Andres Bonifacio sa isang plataporma at nagpahayag, "Mga kapatid, nagkaisa tayong ituloy ang himagsikan. Sumusumpa ba kayong itakwil ang pamahalaang umaapi sa atin?" Sabay-sabay namang sumigaw ng opo ang mga katipunero. Kung ganoon, patuloy ni Bonifacio, ilabas ang inyong mga sedula at punitin upang patunayan ang ating pasyang humawak ng sandata. Inilabas ng mga katipunero ang mga sedula at pinagpupunit. Pagkatapos nito, naluha-luha silang sumigaw, "Mabuhay ang Pilipinas! Mabuhay ang katipunan!" At dito na nga, formal na ipinahayag ng mga katipunero ang kanilang paghihimagsik sa pamahalaang Kastila. Bakit tinaguri ang isang makasaysayang pangyayari ang unang sigaw sa Pugad Lawin sa Balintawak? Ang unang sigaw ang simboliko ng unang pagkatagpo ng mga katipunero upang ipahayag ang kanilang pagkikipaghimagsik sa mga Espanyol. Ang sigaw ng Pugad Lawin ay ang pagpapahayag ng katipunan at naging simula ng himagsikang Pilipino laban sa Imperyong Kastila upang makamit ang kasarinlan. Hanggang sa muli, maraming salamat sa panonood.
Mabuhay, or in Kapampangan, Luwid kayo. Today's question comes from where the water flows. Patrick from Agusan del Sur, Philippines asked, can you tell us about the first Philippine Republic? The first Philippine Republic was a short-lived republic that was established in, well, the Philippines, following the Filipino Declaration of Independence back in 1898. So after many years of fighting for their freedom, the Filipino Revolution was successful, was victorious in liberating their people from 300 years of Spanish rule. And as mentioned in my previous videos, they had declared independence on June 12, 1898, and by August, the Filipinos had effectively controlled most of their country. General Emilio Aguinaldo ruled as the country's first president, and he ruled by decree, basically a dictatorship until a democratic constitution was put in place. So between June and September of 1898, elections were held for the seats in the Revolutionary Congress, aka the country's first national legislature. And on September 15, 1898, this Revolutionary Congress, representing the different provinces of the Philippines, met in Malolos, Bulacan. And first on their agenda was to write a democratic constitution for the independent Philippines. By September 29th, the Malolos Congress ratified Philippine independence, reaffirming the proclamation that was made back in June. And by January of 1899, the Congress ratified and put in place a new constitution. This constitution, also known as the Malolos Constitution, or more accurately as La Constitución Política de 1899, became the basic law of an independent Philippines. It established a democratic republic, placing the sovereignty back to the Filipino people. It guaranteed the civil liberties of the people. It guaranteed the separation of church and state, and the protection of what we would now call civil and human rights against the abuses of those in power. The first republic was inaugurated with much celebration and fanfare. After all, it is considered to be the first constitutional republic in Asia. However, just a month earlier, back in December 10th of 1898, Spain formally sold the Philippines to the United States. Following the Spanish-American War, the Americans, who were once the allies of the Filipino people in their fight for their independence, was by now the enemies, the invaders threatening to take away their freedom. By February of 1899, the Philippine-American War would erupt between the First Philippine Republic against the United States. The war would prove to be a prolonged agony for the people of the Philippines, the ghost of which still haunts the Republic to this day. It was a bloody war that resulted in a violent occupation of the Philippines, and what we would now consider as a merciless genocide of its people. Formally, the First Philippine Republic ended when Aguinaldo was captured at the end of 1901. By 1902, the United States would officially declare an end to the Philippine-American War, or what they would actually call the Filipino Insurrection. However, the fight against US imperialism would continue on for at least another decade. And if you think about it, in many ways, this struggle continues to this day. The First Philippine Republic may have only lasted for only 2 years, but its legacy has proven to the world that the people of what is now the Philippines have always been capable of self-determination and have always been fit for self-rule. It was an evidence of their triumphant victory against 3 centuries of colonialism, and it shows their determination to fend off foreign domination. Although it was not perfect, I mean, let's be honest, no republic has ever been perfect. The First Philippine Republic had many of the fundamental elements of a modern-day nation-states and present-day democracies. It had a strong executive branch, a Congress to balance it out, an independent judiciary, its own army, and most of all, it guaranteed the protection of the rights of its people. Its constitution was a testament to the aspirations and the capabilities of the Filipino people for democracy, liberty, and justice. A beautiful reminder that our people are capable of our own greatness, as opposed to being seen as savages and uncivilized by both Spain and the United States. In fact, along with the Filipino Revolution, the First Philippine Republic was a beacon of hope for many colonized and occupied people in Asia. It was an inspiration for many in the region to fight for their freedom and establish their own modern and democratic societies. I could talk about this for days, but that is it for me today. And if you got questions that you think I have the knowledge or the wisdom to answer, feel free to ask me. Feel free to ask Kirby. See you next time. Or in Tagalog, kita kits, and in Kapampangan, Miki Tix.